All right, well, we heard a little bit from Grep across the game. Honestly, that actually worked out pretty well, to be quite honest. Once I got my sound balance on my end at a point where I could hear both my team and then your discussion points separately, Grep. So I think we could play around a little bit with that, make it work better for the future. But Mr. Weebslayer, you said that it was a little bit of resident sleeper on the dire. They just kind of went ahead and just did it.
Yeah, they didn't really need anything. Like we draft the WoW and they just destroyed in lane and GG.
Yeah, Grep. You want to give me some feedback on how like the draft communication went for the dire?
Yeah, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. It sounded like I wasn't listening to you guys super carefully, but it sounded like your plan was to get the Morphling a kickstart and then rotate into the off lane with your tri lane, and that's what you did. And also super pressuring the Invoker mid. It seemed like you had a game plan, and it worked out pretty flawlessly.
They were really able to capitalize on the fact that the Radiant didn't have a ton of early game defensive anything.
They didn't have anything, like no stuns and shit. Like they only had Slaughter, but Slaughter wasn't even enough to stop them. So it was pretty easy to gank Invoker and get kills. And any other lanes actually. Game was just easy for them.
Yeah, and when the Radiant were drafting, they were talking a lot of all of these, strength melee cores. And although initially, when they got just the Slardar and the Lifestealer, there was a few comments in the chat room, especially of like, "Whoa, they were able to get both Lifestealer and Slardar phase one." But they just didn't really have the follow up behind it to make it so that they were able to have this consistent pressure, because if you don't have Slardar as a medium for infestation bombs early on, then you're going to lose a lot of value that he has as a core. So you'd almost be better off getting something that's even further eclectic, like a Spirit Breaker or something like that, just to get the consistency of an early initiation prospect with the Lifestealer. And I mean, even Spirit Breaker Abaddon dual lane is pretty terrifying to go up against. And although it's not the guarantee of a crush, right clicks still do hurt. But Dancing Lobster, I know you didn't have a lot of input on the Radiant draft as a whole, but more so tried to get them focused and directed on their decision making with it, which is very important. And I applaud you for trying, because there was a lot of conflicting personalities and ideas. But what do you think would have been a better way for them to go about the whole drafting, aside from like the whole discrepancies in when they decided on the coddle, but then they just didn't pick the coddle immediately after it? And
It's one of those things where the draft started, had this plan that they had to, I don't want to give it away in case they feel special. They had this plan, and it immediately just went out the door the first ban phase. And so going into the rest of the draft, they weren't prepared for pretty much anything else. And they did talk about how they wanted the Lifestealer and the Slaughter. And then after that, it kind of fell into the thing. It just they were trying to focus a lot. I don't know how to describe it. They were trying to focus a lot on just getting these picks that they knew were strong, as opposed to having one clear game plan.
so they were more prioritized on having good heroes that may have not had the best synergy.
Because it was like things where like, oh, Lifestealer Slaughter.
Well, I mean, risk running with those two in mind, you're like, all right, this can work, but then there's wasn't a lot of things behind it.
And then they kind of, I think they cornered themselves into pick because they knew that, or they thought that if the other team didn't ban it, we have an Invoker player, oh, we have to pick it. And I think that's kind of a mentality you don't want to have. When you, like, despite how good you are on the hero, it's not always the pick. And you know, I almost kind of think like they got baited into the pick maybe with the PL mid. Because PL mid just destroys Invoker.
Oh yeah, they just didn't have any sort of like
They're all-
real wave clear aside from like
That-
Cuddle.
PL just soloed him.
Oh yeah, I mean Morphling did a fantastic job in the safe lane as well, pressuring and killing
Yeah.
Abaddon in a solo situation a lot of times.
Oh, I didn't want to talk about in game just because I was trying not to focus on like individual play.
Yeah, my ISP
But-
is freaking out.
Abaddon build when you're against like either heroes that you're not going to be able to right click, like a Morphling maybe, and he has low HP. You can go for like a 2/2 build by level 4, and it's just like don't rely on your right clicks, just like mass magic damage on a Morphling, and he has such low HP that it can be very effective. So that's kind of just like adapting to the lane, but it's kind of hard to tell when. But it's out there.
I believe that running as a support was kind of weird in that game.
Who as a support? The
Just Larder.
the starter?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
When they picked it, I thought he would be like. I kind of got scared, but when I saw that he was supporting, it just easy.
yeah. If it was a Slardar offlane with the lifestealer,
Yeah.
that would have been a much different situation. But then this Abaddon pickup, I know, was a lot of the mentality behind it was behind the whole RP and forcing a disengagement off of that, which is great in theory, but if your positioning is just good in general, and if the enemy team doesn't have anything to force bad positioning, and they do, they have Earth Spirit, they've got Morphling, both of them can physically move people across the map. You're not going to be as susceptible to it, but I think when you're going into something like this, that you need to have things that are able to force disengagements with control rather than being counteractive, you know, being more proactive than counteractive, and just we really don't see that solution across the composition of the Radiant unless like we had a snowball come out of Mr. Invoker, which we know didn't happen because there isn't anyone on their team who realistically would be applying a lot of roaming, ganking, lane presence pressure with how their original laning was as a whole. And it would be kind of difficult for them to have gotten themselves in that sort of position, though. What say you, Mr. Lobster?
About the positioning in Aqua pick.
Yeah.
What was it about?
Like the hero choices that they did, like if they supplemented the Abaddon with something that was more like proactive than reactive, because that's how I view Abaddon. He's very reactive because you're correcting things rather than like attacking. I don't know.
Yeah, I would have much more liked to see an initiating style offlaner as opposed to Abaddon. He's just kind of drawing out the fights because with the potential they have to jump in with the Slaughter and Lifestealer, infest bomb first, and then if they had like another solid follow-up like a Tidehunter Ravager, Clockwork Hook into the back lines, I think it would have been. I mean, we didn't really quite get to that point just how the lanes were going. But,
Exactly.
yeah, I wasn't sold on the Abaddon pick when they picked it, and they pretty hastily picked it. They were running low on time, if I remember correctly. Yeah. It didn't fit with the style that I think they should have gone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want like Abaddon is good for heroes who are going to keep putting out a ton of damage over time. When you're running a Slaughter or Lifestealer, that's a very much, you know, get in and do a ton of damage quick.
All right. Well, I guess Weeb Slayer, Grep, either of you have any additional comments or considerations that you may want to talk about real quick before we open it up to being a madhouse discussion?
Yeah, I just had a quick question comment. I thought it was interesting the item progression that PL chose. So went into the Midas very quickly, and then right after that, the Aghanim Scepter. And certainly the PL generically with the Dazzle is a really nice combo in terms of the heal bomb, and of course popping all that many more illusions creates a lot of nice chaos in the team fight, a lot more physical damage to deal with the lifestealer or the, of course, all the diffusal that you would expect maybe against an Invoker. But that Ags, is there anything particular that was the comment on the Ags? Was that just a, hey, we're way ahead, so what the hell? Or was that a specific play in terms of...
I'm going to progressively start to unmute the channel because I think this is leading into more of just like a group chat than anything.
Satan, please. Ban him next. Next game, don't pick the fucking Satan.
Stop banning Satan.
Thank you, Lobster. I'll see you later, man. Thank you for all your advice.
Yeah, I gotta go. So thank you all so much for coming.
Lobster, dude, absolute pleasure. I'll touch base with you a little bit later.
I'll be in contact with you.
Go touch second base.
Thank you.
Hey, if I'm lucky.
See y'all guys. Good night.
Well,
All right, I think everyone is unmuted. No,
a
wait.
difficult Abaddon game. I certainly probably did not do my part to react correctly.
I don't think there's anything you can do. I mean, I don't know. I played Abaddon against Morph a few times. And it was just kind of stupid.
Actually, we could if the Slaughter was offline, we could
Yeah,
kill
you
him
weren't
easy.
Abaddon.
Actually,
Literally
could kill him easier than the Abaddon. Because-
That's true, but
with
you were
my-
like rolling off the map.
Well,
With my understanding of our draft as it was, which was quite chaotic, my understanding was that I was going to have a Slardar buddy at least some of the time.
Well, your draft didn't make sense.
No, your Slaughter has 8 creep kills. Like, how is he gonna do anything?
Like I said, I don't chalk this game up as being a particularly strong performance out of myself. So
Yeah, but it wasn't bad either. You're also playing against someone who's almost 3,000 MMR higher than you, and a solo lane. Like, it makes sense.
Yo,
It's
that's even,
score
dude.
for failure.
okay,
well, I'd like to think that the only difference between you know, a 3K MMR gap is the number itself breaks down. There are certainly things that I could have done that are uncharacteristic of my MMR, and certainly things that you could have done the same way. But I'm interested to know, from your opinion, you know, personally, the things that you saw because you played against me. You know, any tips or pointers that you could have just for, you know, even knowing how to disengage.
You typically don't want to fight a Morphling 1v1 when he's already a higher level than you. Like, I mean, you saw when you tried and I just strength morphed and killed you just because. Well, that's just because I'm so, like, I've been playing this game forever, so I can see the numbers. Like I know how much damage I'm going to take from a hit before it hits me. So I can just sit there and switch off and switch between agility and strength pretty easily. And as a hero that doesn't have a silence or not even a stun, you can't really try to fight me 1v1.
Okay.
But
There
you
was-
really just, you needed your team. Like, your team didn't want to help you. So I just free farmed. I pushed you out of lane while I was farming, and no one came to help you.
You farmed me more than the creeps.
Yeah, because no one wanted to help you.
You should have just gotten an Iron Talon. You should have just gotten an Iron Talon and falled back on the jungle.
There was
The rotation was concentrated on the middle. There was on the Slaughter behind the Invoker.
Yeah.
Yeah, the supports did a really good job of keeping the focus elsewhere, too.
So what
There
you
was-
should be saying to him is, you take the XP from the lane when it's near your tower, and then you go jungle.
Oh, I'm
Yep.
offlane. I am a terrible offlane.
Well, I mean, that's like a...
advice on that.
I mean, offlane's my bay, basically.
Pretty much.
You know, to be fair,
you know,
You'd rather not feed.
that game would have lasted 3 times as long. We would have had actual fun.
you know,
I
same
mean,
part,
I
part of
was,
the benefit of this format, I think, though, is that even if you're not the player in that, you can give him the opposite perspective. So if he wants an offlaner's perspective, like, here's what I think you could have done, you can tell him, hey, here's why I was successful against you. This is why I went on the openings that I saw. So you can give him that perspective of the opposite.
So, I mean, I can give him lots of feedback on this too. So one of the first things that you want to do as Abaddon as a whole is you want to cast your shield on yourself then give yourself a little bit of time before you go to engage in, so that your second shield is about to be off cooldown or off cooldown when you're in the fight, so that when you force them to make your shield break based on them hitting you and trading their hits for your hits, that you also make them take extra damage. So they spent time trying to hit you, which made you hurt them while you were also hitting them. And then you already were able to put a second shield on yourself. So you're basically using mana to mitigate damage on yourself and then also do additional damage to them. And you do it twice. So you stack it on top of each other. You have your miscoil if you have to deny yourself on top of it too. And you can just like troll the lane.
Okay, so correct me if I was wrong, but I was not able to miscoil myself at any point in the game.
No, you miscoil other people and it takes
Okay.
damage from you.
Okay, that's
You miscoil other people, enemy or ally.
saying for a second there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
That was another, like, I don't max my passive on a bad, and I saw that you did. That's why I could sit there and fight you, and I wasn't worried about
I'll tell
taking
you
miscoil
why.
damage.
I'll tell you why I at least my thought behind that, which is probably incorrect, but like I know that spell gives movement speed, and trust me, I wanted to get the hell out of there.
Yeah.
So
I would personally max it and then just try to deny myself when I get low.
Okay.
But that's I have a different play style.
My personal get-go is to get 2 points in the passive and then throw it up in the queue. Sometimes I'll just do 1 point in the passive, but you always max shield first.
Okay.
That's definitely a truth.
And building on what Sky said too, I mean, I don't know if you noticed, but in the early game, as soon as you casted shield, like I would hit you till you casted shield and then back off.
He'd walk away and then let it pop.
Lane.
that's my next question.
I commented on that a few times.
Yeah, he did that, and my second question is that even when he was playing me to my strength or to his strengths right then, the problem is that I ran out of mana very quickly, just trying to live through
Yeah,
that. So
150 mana for each shield.
You cannot shield against Morphling, I don't think.
You have to do, yeah, he could just wait for him, break it. You're gonna be much better off with your Q against a Morphling in the lane.
I'm a proponent of maxing your passive and just going jungle. What are you gonna do with the Q anyway?
No, don't do that. Just get an Iron Talon. Yeah, you still get your shield because you can mitigate damage from the creeps.
Passive over Q.
I mean, I don't.
I would still have 1 point. I would still have 1 point in Q.
Yeah, 1 point in Q.
I would rather hear conflicting opinions than have somebody tell me what to do, because the thought behind this is really what helps me the most. So thank you guys.
No matter
just-
what
I
offlane
mean-
you play, if you're dying, go jungle.
Yes, get Iron Talon and jungle. 100% of the people can do that.
We really should have I should have bought an Iron Talon and taken the bottom jungle, and you should have taken the top jungle, and we just stayed there for 30 minutes.
What is your slaughter gonna do then?
Grep, what's your MMR? I forget that I don't have that in my list.
It's like 3K.
We should have just gone 5 Midases. Oh, by the way, can we just establish from now on, Satan is over 4K for whatever balancing we do.
Okay, dude. Jesus.
I'm asking Sky, because he's the one who puts him at 3K.
It's
3.2 or whatever.
the Dota community. It's not Sky.
Well, the Dota community has no bearing here.
It's literally everyone in the Dota community.
I honestly, for the longest time, only put effort into my party MMR. And I ended up playing with a group of friends for a while that didn't care. And it tanked my party MMR from 4,400 down to, what the fuck am I at now? I don't know. But like, I also just like play ranked with the stream, not caring with my party. Actually, it's only at 3713, but it was over 4,400, and like I really had pride over that number. And then like people would just fucking berate it, and I'm shit, and then like
I get on Dota for Teach Tuesday and for Echo League, and that's literally it. I don't
But
play aside.
like realistically, for you at least, your solo MMR is at minimum your party MMR plus a few hundred. Literally everyone
still a very different environment.
The Satan is
I can
fucking
honestly
just
defend the
cheating
Satan a
all
little
the
bit.
game long. He
It's like,
doesn't do nothing. At the end, he really wrecks.
Just cheating.
You guys just don't gank me ever.
You were not gang.
Gank you when you're supports are raping our invoker.
I mean, not just
come
that
on.
game. I mean, any game. Like the one game I lost last week was because you guys sent 2 supports on me the entire game. That's all it takes.
I
Like,
seem to remember you were also a Rubik. That
I
could have
was
had
no,
something
I
to do
won
with
the.
Defiant, you playing again?
this game.
Defiant, would you play again?
Oh,
I
the
mean-
Magnus game,
Game 3.
the carry got it.
Highest, you know what I mean? I don't want to play with a bunch, like, no offense, I don't want to play with 2,000 MMR people.
With me, is what he's saying.
Well, yeah, Maddie,
Well,
Maddie either, but
so let me give you because I just am trying to get the people in who haven't played yet, and now I'm filling it with, you know, priority.
play.
Well, let me tell you where it is.
60% of that game.
Yeah, so I'm going through that right now, Skater. So, you know, good on you for chiming in on
You
it.
see my skill shot top, my rolling ball. I was.
Jesus Christ, I'm gonna mute everybody again if I can't get these words out of my mouth. All right, so I've got 2,600, 1,200, 3,900, 4,000, 1,650, and 3,000. So I don't know what your opinion is on that, Defiant, but I was gonna put Skater in this game as well, and he's like 4,400, I think.
Yeah, I'll play if you need someone to.
Where? I don't know what. I don't think it's 4,400. 4,500. 4,500. But I was gonna still try and scale it higher if I could anyway. So I was.
Put Maddie on the other team.
Yeah, put me as a 1.6 and on the other team.
All right, I'll
The team to himself.
just put Matty on a team by himself.
That's fine. I'll just play the first game from now on.
I do have to head out for the night though. I just want to thank everybody for, you know, giving me some feedback.
Oh, dude, we'll connect on Abaddon specifically at some point because that's literally like my favorite hero, and I can make you. Oh, dude, Dazzle for supporting, but Abaddon if I actually want to gain MMR. So like, I'll make that. You can gain like 1,500 MMR with Abaddon if you're in like the 2K bracket without much effort.
Okay. I do just want to reiterate because I'm almost not sure that it's clear, but like I had a lot of fun playing that game. Like
I'm astounded that that was the case.
I did too.
Well,
I did
shut
have a
up.
lot of fun.
honestly, I think sometimes when we get into this discussion where the numbers come up a lot, I think sometimes we forget that people play games because they're fun. And
Yes, and I think you forgot. I was 0-11, was it, or 10?
See,
I
Dota
was
when I
was
wanna have
Owen
fun.
right up there with you.
I play Dota,
So-
or I play Rocket League when I want to have fun. I play Dota when.
Well, it's hard to play this game on a consistent basis and have a smile even when you lose. And when we bring the game into this sort of event type opportunity for people, it really gives it a much more lighthearted everything to it, realistically.
What we kind of learned is, at least the last couple of times, that there's been like 3 or more people that have been like, are we sure this is balanced? It hasn't been balanced. And we've discovered that too late.
Well, you know what? Maybe you just need to have more faith in yourself and to play more than 2 heroes.
Less faith in the MMR system.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, here's a request. Can you guys not 3-man gank me nonstop?
That's part of the game. That's part of the game.
Gank someone else.
But see,
I'm sure
like,
it's
I don't know.
I wish, like, I wish you could have heard the voice chat.
Because he clearly will have fun anyways.
The problem